Hi everyone, this is Jobenblue, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at the Android 17 Event Exclusive Color Edition, otherwise known as Lapis. It was exclusive to 2020. Whenever I say that these are first looks, I seriously mean I've never opened the figures themselves. Like, I've had them ever since I got them in whatever that was, November. Or either way, I have not actually opened these figures whatsoever. They've just been sitting there, and I'll prove it in about 2 seconds. You can see that the tape is still there, and the tape is still there on that one, so... This is the same color as Gohan, I think. Well, I guess not. They look the same in person, but clearly this light seems to be showing that they are ever so slightly different shades of orange. Cool. Android 17 is one of my favorite characters from Dragon Ball. I don't know. I'm really going to enjoy this. I really hope that we get Super 17, especially since we just got SHF, so... This one is orange-ish yellow, I guess, in Android 17. It appears that he comes with a lot of hands, normal hair, wavy hair, all that kind of good stuff. I did own the bootleg of the original Android 17, and that one was not very good. Clearly, I do have the classy Super 17s, so let's see, do they have the same hands? That is... uncanny. They actually have all of the exact same hands. So I wonder if that was on purpose. I don't know if it was just a strange coincidence. Maybe they were trying to match the old box as opposed to Class E. I am going to keep the Class E's just because Dragon Ball GT, you do have the Super 17 arc. There are two 17s. So I know GPS Lot has a... what do you call it? A leather jacket for him, so that'll be fun to have two 17s. This does seem to continue some of the sun bleachedness that you saw on the Android 18, and Android 18 is currently busy cosplaying, so do with that as you will. So the Class E is on the left, and the new one is on the right. First part we'll look at is their faces. They are slightly bigger on the Android's event exclusive. That was like something I thought was kind of weird. But I've definitely grown a lot more used to it. I would say it's totally fine. You can tell tones are just ever so slightly different between some of these areas. It's different orange. The blacks seem to be the same. Got a little bit more gray than white. The holsters are completely different. The event exclusive has maybe a slight bit more matte coloring to it. It's so hard to tell. They're both very well made. So, talked about paint a lot with the Android 18, and yeah, you can see on the event it's a lot more clean than it is on the Class E. More of that sun-bleached pants and stuff. I never really liked how the sculpt turned out on this one. I think that there should have been a little bit of that gray that you see on the EE. But the Class E was pretty much just a straight-up reissue, so... more eggshell than it is stark white on the shoes. Something that actually is a little bit disappointing that you can probably see is that the event does not have this little gray underneath. You be the judge on if that's actually supposed to be gray or not. I don't think that it is, but I don't know. It's not that huge of a thing. So the head is very nice. Everything looks good on this one. We already know that. It's really just doesn't move very well. It's always hard to manipulate these on the smaller figures. You know, I was talking about in the raccoon video how you can actually bend and get just a slight bit more range out of them. This is not as well made as Android 18, I guess. Jeez. Yeah, this is what I was talking about during the Android 18 video. I mean, they're both a little bit tight, but 17 is definitely a little bit harder to get out than the 18. They just always had these tiny little pegs, and you were always worried it was going to pop out and everything. And I did go through all of my hands on my Class E's with I'm going to guess it was a 1/18 drill bit, and I drilled all of those out so they could go in better. I really hate having to do that to official figures, but maybe it's just because it's been in there so long. Let me try it again. Snapped on easy. It's definitely tighter than 18. I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing. I don't know. That was always one of the things that stuck out about these hands on these Androids. It allowed for a ton of range here on the feet, so those are really nice. It looks like it's not centered properly, but I think it's just an illusion based on the ankle rocker and all that kind of stuff. So there it's huge, and then you can move it over there and stuff like that. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. This one seems to be flat enough that it would be difficult to hyperextend that. It's definitely tighter than I would say that the Class E seems to be. I wouldn't say it like I wouldn't say that either of them are bad necessarily in the way that they're made. So it's a little bit hard to do the hands on those, but I'm pretty sure it was actually like that on the original Androids too. So yeah, it was always hard to manipulate these arms. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the Raccoon video, because that explains it in great detail, but I don't want to break these, so I'm going to keep it there for now. Let's go ahead and try and swap the arms. Definitely tight. On my bootleg, I could not get these in at all, but on the Class E, it was super easy, and on here, I think it's going to be pretty easy as well. Just snap them both in. Watch for this thing. I'm not really sure if that's the best design for a shirt. Is that supposed to be up or out? You see that right there? I think maybe it's supposed to be in. So it almost seems like there's a groove there for it. That's why I was like, I don't know that this was the best way to do a sweatshirt character, but I don't know what the alternatives are. But there, that one is swapped on there, and then let's go ahead and swap out the heads to the other one as well. One thing I noticed with my Android 18 cosplay here was that I could not get her onto the Dark Magician Girl in a way to get that in there, because this thing was in the way, but apparently you can flip up the heads on these figures, so I want to see if it can actually do that on 17 as well. Yes, you can put the heads away. With this one, you get 3 different heads. You got a neutral face, you got a smiling face. This one's kind of annoying because the eyes are slightly up, and then this one's just super annoying because it's way off to the side. What did they do for the Class E? For the Class E, they had it go forwards, so it is annoying. Alright, I would say that they both have their upsides and their downsides towards the transformation. It's a lot easier to get the arms out on Class E17, but to put the arms in, I would say it's just a slight bit easier on the event exclusive. I feel like I'm running into problems with the head articulation like this, so I'm going to go ahead and take off this scarf. The event exclusive scarf is definitely a little bit more pliable than the other one. I never liked having this thing in there, mostly because like if you ever wanted to go in there and swap it out with like maybe you could go in there and heat up the figure and do all that kind of stuff, and maybe you would finally be able to pry it out. But I mean, who really wants to do that to an event exclusive figure? It's just, it feels wrong. Like, really, really wrong. Woo! Okay, I'm dumb. I forgot. They do have separate belts, but I never used the separate belts because the only one I've ever really cared for is that look, so is the one with the holster. I mean, the other one is just like without a holster, and it's just the belt by itself without the holster. And I feel like there's a better way they could have done that. But with the belts, I guess since we're here, this one you can tell it's definitely separated. On the Class E, it's not as easy to tell, I guess because this one is just a slightly harder material, or maybe it's because it's connected in more spots or something. But the event exclusive is definitely more pliable. I really like how they did the ab crunch on this figure, because there's still just ever so slightly a little bit of back movement, but you're mainly relegated to the front, so it's not perfect, but you know, it's pretty good. I'll give it that. Maybe I didn't want my Android 17 to have a scarf on it. Did you ever think about that? Yeah, sometimes it's kind of hard to get that pegged in there because of the scarf. This has always been a really like iconic pose to me. And Dragon Ball Z episode 194, he holds this guy at gunpoint, and it's like right before Trunks shows up. I don't know. I feel like in this shot, it kind of seems decent compared to what we actually got. But I feel like it's always just so hard to actually get the perspective on this shot right. Like, it feels like more camera angles than it does actually doing the pose. And I think the problem here is that this knee is not able to go up high enough, like a high kick or something. I guess I do have Gogeta, so I'll give me a second. Yeah, I think my theory is correct on the whole leg situation being the main problem with doing this pose. Because he can still put his hand through his legs, which is very obvious what he's doing. And then the other hand can still come around here and do that. I think another problem with that is maybe the lack of a proper butterfly joint. I mean, this does work to an extent. It's like a Dragon Star's butterfly joint, so technically it's a little bit, but it's not a whole lot of a good butterfly joint. I can't believe that I forgot I've made this connection before, but Red from Pokemon, the Figma, has pretty much mastered pants. This pants design was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life, because what it could do is that it cut out there so it never got in the way whatsoever. And then the forward movement was also never really in the way. Like, the things that this thing did for pants are just insane. So I think in terms of the posing difficulties that I was having could be solved with Figma Red. And whenever they do go back and they try to do the Android 17 2.0, what they need to do is that they need to look at the Figma Pokemon Trainer Red. From first looks, I would say it's really only worth it if you're a super huge fan of 17, or if you never want to own a third party and put in the work to drill bit out the hands or whatever. But it's nice to have two 17s around. Whether one of them is this event exclusive or not, that's the real question. I do want to make a video about SSJ4 and Namek Bulma, which should be pretty interesting. But besides that, we're probably just going to be returning to business as usual. This has been Jobenblue. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.